Good evening. Good evening. How are you guys doing tonight? It is Sunday night. Welcome to Retail Leadership with Steve Worthy. Winning your Monday. I know, right? But it's Sunday night. But here's the thing. If you want to get prepared, if you want to be that retail leader that is going to exceed expectations, if you're going to be that retail leader that wants to communicate new thoughts, new concepts, or be the first one to bring something to your boss around a new initiative that maybe your company can do, or it's something that you just want to do internally for yourself so that you can get ready for the next level of your journey. Well, winning Mondays is that with Retail Leadership with Steve Worthy. Our goal is to focus in on Sunday evening so that you can be prepared to win on your Monday. We're going to get right to the show right after this. All right. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. I know tonight I don't have any right now. Um, Anybody that went to UConn, you're probably not watching this. It is we are in the throes of March Madness. I mean, man, it is some serious upsets taking place, on in this tournament, man. 16s going down to one. Excuse me, one's going down to 16s. Like it is truly madness. I am an old school basketball guy from New York, and I loved the Big East growing up, and the Big East was for me it was the number one tournament, the number one conference in the world. Syracuse, Georgetown, St. John's, all of that. So I have an affinity for the tournament, but more importantly for the Big East. So, hey, here's the thing. So tonight, um, you know, we wanted to bring this thing back on Sunday nights. Honestly, I wanted to be obedient to what I know that I'm called to do, and I've probably put this off for too long, and probably focused in on maybe some of the wrong things. Um, and as a retail leader, it could actually happen to us. And so I actually did this post earlier this week, and the post talked about focus and refocus and kind of gaining your focus back. And tonight, for me, is one of those nights where I'm actually truly doing that. I'm actually practicing what I preach around narrowing my focus and around making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing as a retail leader coach. But the other part of it is not just for me, it is for you. What everything that I talk about, you have a double mic. Have a double mic? Yeah. One second. I'm not have a double mic? Two mics. Two mics open on the screen. Oh, okay. I got you. Thank you. Thank you. Boom. Fixed it. Bada bing, bada boom. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I'm surprised that while I had that double mic on there. Thank you so much. It was one of them was the camera, one was the Rodecaster Pro. Appreciate you guys in the audience for letting me know that as well too. What's going on, Mr. James? How are you doing tonight? Good to see you here. And Sherry Jones, thank you. Cool. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You guys are both here helping me out with that mic situation. Appreciate that. So one of the things for me, it was making sure that I focus in on what's purposeful for me and keeping the main thing the main thing. And tonight is part of that. When I wanted to go back and start this Sunday evening, one of the things I wanted to do was to make sure that I focused in on giving you something that is going to equip you for Monday and for next week. And so what we have done is broken this down into two sections, to two areas where we're going to do, just in case you missed it. And part of this is actually just to help you with maybe a couple of articles or something that was in the retail news that you may have missed. But more importantly, how does this apply to you as a retail leader? And what should you do with this information going forward? Same issue? Oh, same issue when I go back. Okay, thank you. Let me do that. Awesome. I appreciate that. It's done. Let me make sure when I go back, it's not the same issue again. Okay, it's muted now. Every time I go back, maybe one more. Let me do this. There we go. Same issue on this one too. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Should be good to go right now. You guys are awesome. So we broke it down once again into two departments, into two sections for the show. The one is, once again, just in case you missed it, and we talk about different articles and topics that you may have missed. And then this last one is a leadership discussion. And this, of course, this is going to be my bread and butter. Talking to you a little bit more about a different leadership topic and something that is pertinent to you that you can actually apply on Monday, that you can actually utilize with yourself or with your team. Because here's the thing that I know of being in retail for so long. Part of my measure of success that I had was utilizing the information that I gained, one from somebody else or that I sought out, and I utilized that information to equip my team. Well, first to equip myself, but then second to equip my team. Because here's the thing is that when you are in leadership, your days can go by so fast. Your weeks can go by so fast. Your months can go by so fast. And every day is different. I know that as a regional and a manager, when I came into different markets, I upset the entire day. I changed the complexion of the day. I changed the focus. But more importantly, what I know I needed to do as a regional leader was to make sure I was communicating a strong message and making sure that the team understood what it is that I needed them to do going forward. But one of the things that I really, really enjoyed was that when I would have a sidebar conversation with a district manager or a store manager, or even a assistant manager, and they would talk to me about different things that were taking place in the retail industry, whether it was a competitor or a new product different assortment or something that was out there that maybe they thought I didn't know about, which was okay, or that they just felt compelled to actually share with me. And that just boded so much for them when it came time for me remembering them for promotions, different projects, all these different things. Because they didn't have to do that. You don't, as a retail leader, you can do whatever it is that you need to do on a daily basis, and you'll probably end up being fine, right? But if you want to be better, if you want to equip your team to do different things, then this is what you need to do. Sunday nights, here, 7 o'clock with Retail Leadership with Steve Worthy. We are here to help you win your Monday. All right, so let's do this. We're gonna go right here to the first. Um, Here we go. We're gonna go right to the first article, and this was I read this one, and this one is truly something that as a retail leader you need to be focused in on. Here's why I say this is because it says retail leaders will face hurdles meeting low income customers after cuts in the SNAP. SNAP EBT for those of us of a certain age, right? It was called the welfare system and things like that. And of course, they changed the name, but this is what this is right now. This is the system, of course, used to help low income earners and individuals and families. And the implications for this as a retail leader are far and but more importantly, they're actually deep. And I think we need to really understand what this is going to do for you, and what this is going to mean for you as a retail leader within your organization, within your business unit, and within your region, all these different things. And so, and I actually got this article. So if you are in the market, Elizabeth LaFontaine, if you are listening, I hope you're listening on this on LinkedIn. If you're not, I'm trying to connect with you. I really want to get her on the show. She is the chief retail analyst for Retail Leader Pro. It's a great um, monthly, weekly article that I read, and I get a lot of my information, from there. And I love how they write. So it's actually a really good place for you to start to go get maybe some commentary if you want. But the article goes on to talk more about how retail leaders need to change up different things or how they're going to need to change things to meet the expectations of the low income customer since SNAP is going to be going away. And here's the thing. Here's what happened, of course. During COVID, of course, there was an increase in SNAP benefits. And we saw that. I saw that right before I actually left retail. I was still I was working, while the pandemic was taking place, and we saw the massive amount of um, customers coming in with increased balances on their EBT, on their SNAP, understandably so. And what we noticed was a change in their buying patterns and in their frequency of when they actually purchase something as well. Too. Let me make sure that I'm actually good to go on this side. Okay, I'm still muted as well too. What we noticed was a change in their frequency, where it was more frequent. Um, we noticed changes in the actual product assortment that they were actually purchasing over time. And so, as this money, if you will, goes away, you are going to have to think differently about what this means for you as a retail leader. And here's the things that we want to talk about real quick with this. We're going to talk about two articles. This one right here, it's about this article, the Retail Leader Impact Assortment. Be mindful of your current assortment and its placement and pricing. So when you are in a store or you're in a district, typically when you walk in the store, you have a lot of loss leaders that are actually up front. Of course, that's to help with the impetus of the buying pattern and to make sure people are starting the buying or the shopping experience with something with a win, right? When I worked at Target, we actually had, I'm going to go back and call it was called C Spot Save. I know those who of you in Target, been there for a while. You guys remember that. Now it's one spot, I believe. but back in the day, it was called C Spot Saving, where you could actually just go in and grab something, put it in your cart, and you felt really good about it. That started and that triggered the buying pattern. And so when you start to think about this from a low income customer standpoint, you are going to have to probably up that ante as it relates to those loss leaders first thing when it comes into your store. You're going to have to kind of rethink your assortment. You're going to have to look at your look at your purchasing history. Look at sales in your categories and make necessary adjustments. I would also think about. Let me make sure I got it. Okay, there we go. Oh, double mic again. Double mic again. Sorry. Thank you. I didn't see the sounds. I didn't see it coming. Thanks again, Cher. I appreciate that. Let me just do this real quick. Let me go to this one too. So that going forward, not just tonight, but I think going forward, I will be good to go because I brought in a different camera. So that's why I'm getting these double mics. Awesome. Working on some of these kinks. As I kind of relaunch this Sunday night. So thank you, Sharon. Once again, I appreciate that. So start to rethink your in-store assortment as they walk into the store, making sure that you understand that now they actually have less money to spend and they're going to be more judicious in actually what they spend. And so sometimes you may actually have to have a conversation with them, right? One of the things that I love to do was when I walked into stores, I would approach somebody who had a pretty hefty basket or maybe a smaller basket and say, is there anything that you're missing that in this basket that we don't have? Or is there anything that you wish we had or wish we carried, right? Sometimes we were able to, fulfill that goal or fulfill that order. Sometimes we weren't able to do that. So I think making sure that you understand the lay of the land when it comes to your store and your market and your region is super important. And what does this mean for the team? So this is what I mean when I said that this had a broader perspective or impact, but also has a deeper impact. And here's why: because your team members are impacted by the same issues as their customers, right? So now we have, I think I'm here in Atlanta, and I'm not particularly sure how much it is now. I know when I lived in Maryland, pretty much across the board. I know with Target and other companies, I'm using these guys in Walmart as kind of the staple, if you will. They typically start at $17 an hour, which isn't bad money, right? But you also have to think about the implications of the team member, whether or not how they actually get to work, right? One of the things that I say all the time, everything works at home office, right? And we all know that. Everything works at HQ. Planograms, leadership tactics, your assortment, it looks nice and pretty. Everything works at home office. Our goal with here is to give you a behind the scenes perspective and things that they're not going to teach you and show you and talk about in the manual. So we're going to talk about the things that don't necessarily work at HQ. Not knocking HQ. God bless everybody at HQ retails. God bless them all. But what I'm trying to let you know is that when you get down to the store level, you have to kind of rethink certain things. And so when you start to talk about SNAP, this just doesn't impact the customer. It actually impacts the team member because some of your team members and their family are actually still getting SNAP, right? I'm just here to give you the real stuff. Once again, this is the stuff that they're not going to teach you about. I have had I don't know how many team members who had a family member possibly that was actually getting SNAP, and that increased the entire household's buying pattern, right, and purchase power. Now that's actually going to be going away. So you are going to probably have either team members who are going to be impacted that may be looking for more hours. You're going to have team members that are probably looking to get promoted so they can make more money, right? So all of these articles and these different things, when they're put out there in the retail ethos, it's cool to actually have a broader perspective, but you actually have to think about it as a senior vice president, regional district manager, even the store manager. the implications that these things have on you and also your team. So the Snap article is something that you want to make sure you start to think about, and you are going to probably see that as it relates to coming up in a few weeks, and you're going to probably hear customers coming in your store talking about it, and so you have to be sensitive to that. So your communication with your team probably needs to be upfront. If I was you, first thing Monday, Tuesday morning, whenever you get an opportunity, I would have a conversation on your district call, on your regional call, on your market call, and talking about this issue, and saying, okay, what do you think the impact is going to be? And then have a constructive conversation around communication that you need to have that is going to be consistent, because the one thing these customers are not going to want to hear is inconsistency in messaging from one store to the next, from one market to the next. Okay, so I wanted to make sure we talked about this one. This next one is a pretty dope one. Okay, this next one is a pretty good one, and I want to make sure. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna make sure again with this mic is all right. I am good to go. I am good to go. So this one right here, the one thing that I have hesitated to call myself over the last several years, I probably just embraced it over the last year, is a content creator. Right, I'm a leadership person first. I'm a leadership person first. I'm a coach first, retail leader first. Um, but I've realized is that I've actually had to make, and I have to make, and still continue to make content that will help facilitate my message, that will help um, provide credibility to who I am and what I do and what I talk about. One of the things that, of course, has been out there for so long is this idea of content creators being influencers, right? We've all heard that term probably over the last 6 to 7 years, right? Influencer, influencer, influencer. And some of us have gotten upset by that. Upset meaning in the context of like, okay, it's been overused, right? My good friend James, he's changed the mindset to being an advocate. And so when you start to think about what Walmart is doing, and I'm going to talk about it here in a second, the impact of the influencers on the economy. Here's the other thing that you'll probably hear in this um, when you're a content creator, is this thing called the creator economy and things like that. I understand what they mean by that, but I just think it's the economy, because here it is. It's even though it's the creator economy, or it's creators in the economy is still an exchange. It is still, you are still exchanging eyeballs for money. You're still exchanging knowledge for money, and that's just the economy in and of itself. And so I'm not knocking on the idea of what we call the creator economy. I just think we actually have to understand that it is really, um, a different lane of the economy. And for myself, as a content creator and retail coach, the importance of understanding my value and what I bring is super important. Walmart has sought to understand and do something about the influencer economy, if you will. Walmart builds a platform to connect creators, content, and social commerce. Great article, great article on Retail Wire. Another great platform to get really good information, or that's actually in the retail industry, and that you can take and distill it down to your level and your team's level. So, what does this mean when Walmart is building a platform to connect creators, content, and social media? Here's the one thing that I do know, if you don't know this as a senior vice president or a regional person, then something's wrong. Is that you have a whole bunch of content creators already in your team. You have a whole bunch of people that are on TikTok, that are on IG, and they're creating content while they're at work. And I'm not knocking that. I'm just letting you know that if you don't know that, or if you think that that's not happening, then then something's wrong, right? So understanding the importance that people are already doing this at work, and now people who are influencers, so to speak, are actually going to start benefiting from their cachet and utilizing it on the Walmart platform. Walmart is going to actually, the only flaw that I see, if you read this, I can probably, I'll leave some links in the description. The only flaw I see in this is, and a lot of us who have actually talked about this article from a response standpoint, we see it as well, is that where are they going to house the content that as an influencer I make? I am of the strong opinion that if I am a content creator and I have people that follow me, my followers are going to look for the content first on my platform. They're not going to go unless I direct them to go to Walmart to see the content. I understand that, and that's great because you want to put them on Walmart's platform. Understandable, but if I like we talk about content creators. I like Peter McKinnon um, stuff. He's a photographer. If I like his stuff, I'm going to go to his platform first, right? And look at what he has. And then if there's a link that's something that I like, then it'll take me to Walmart per se. So just thinking about that. What's the impact on this? What's the impact on this? Let me make sure I am super sensitive to the mic now. Just making sure I'm good to go. All right, here's the impact. What's going on, Marcel? How are you doing, sir? Good to
Good to
see
see
you,
you,
sir.
sir. Peter's
Peter is
Peter is
fire,
fire,
man.
man. He really is.
He
He
really
really
is.
is.
Let me
Let me
make
make
sure I
sure I
got
got
this.
this.
Actually,
Actually,
since
since
I
I
got
got
you
you
on
on,
here, I'm gonna make sure I
I
got
got
this
this
thing
thing
sorted
sorted
up
up
here.
here.
All
All
right,
right,
good
good
deal.
deal.
All
All
right,
right, appreciate.
appreciate you for coming by. So here's the thing. Oh, Mike
Mic
issues
issues
on
on
this
this
one.
one.
Yep.
Yep.
Boom. Thank you. Thank you, Cher. Thank you, Cher. Appreciate it. It's when I do that. It's when I go back. That's what happens when I go back from scene to scene. So I appreciate that. So going forward, we should be good to go. Thank you. Thank you. Here's the thing: creator economy heavily connected to retail and impact buying patterns. It's already connected to retail, right? It's already connected. So that's what I say when I say the creator economy. It is already there. So understanding how that works, right? As a retail leader, what does that really mean, for you on a day-to-day basis, right? You have people who are on your team who are influencers and who are creating content. One of the things that you should try to do and try to make sure that you understand is that platform are the different platforms, is how content is actually created. I am not saying for you as a retail leader to go out there and make content, but here's the one thing that I will tell you. I will tell you, and here's it, and it's right here. Content creation. This is the other retail leader impact. You are the brand as a retail leader. What does your brand say about you as a leader? So when we start talking about content creation, right? Content creation is not just on social media. Content creation for you is our emails. Content creation for you is when you actually walk a store, because when when I walked with somebody, I understood kind of their brand. I understood who they were. I understood what they stood for. I understood how much influence they had with their team. So when you start to think about the implications of this creator, I'm just gonna go back and say it, the creator economy. You are, as a retail leader, already in this creator economy by the sheer fact of what you do, by the sheer fact of the teams and the massive amount of people that you lead. right? So it'll behoove you to get even deeper into understanding what this means for your business. You can have young customers that come in and they're talking about Mr. Beast. And you're like, who the heck is Mr. Beast? That's just some nonsense. That's not gonna weigh. Let me tell you what, um, Mr. Beast gives away like $1 million a month, maybe even more than that, from his profits as a YouTuber. Um, you have so many different influencers that are out there that are doing so many things for the economy. You have to understand the implications of what that means for you and also for your team. The other thing that happens, and this is something that you got to think about too. The other thing that happens is that you will have, and I see it all the time. I talk to them. We coach them, right? We talk about it from a make a move standpoint. I'm going to talk about that here in a second. Is that typically you may have some of your team that leaves because they want to be influencers or that they've actually made it as a YouTuber. They've gotten monetized, they're making money, all these different things. Or you may have people who are thinking about leaving because guess what? They have a side hustle. I'm not particularly fond of that word, but that's what people call it. And that they are really enjoying that. And as a leader, you have to understand the impact of that side hustle on their leadership, right? And what are you going to do about it? Are you going to try to do something to actually keep them in that role, or are you just going to allow them to leave? What are you going to do as a leader? Because what this thing from Walmart shows and displays is that there is a broader implication that you need to understand and have as a retail leader, not for just yourself, but also for your team and those and the markets that you are in. All right. Hope that makes sense. Hope that helps somebody out there as a retail leader. If you're tracking with me, those of you in the audience or on a replay, make sure you say put I'm tracking with you, Steve. All right, so let me make sure I'm good to go here. So I just mentioned make a move. So this is what we talk about with retail leadership with Steve Worthy and also with Worthy Retail U. It is that season. It is that season right now in retail, and we have entitled it "Make a Move." It is that time of year. It is that time of year when you have received you've gone to the corporate events, and you have been juiced up, right, with all of the amazing messages around where we're going, um, what we're going to be standing for this year, all the new products, right? They had people there to entertain you, right? All these great events. You've come back and you're loaded for bear, right? That's one part of make a move season. That's what typically happens. Before you actually go to those events, you've received all of the information around your previous year, what you did from a sales standpoint. You kind of know where you stand, right? So whether you had a good year or a bad year, that typically will have an impact of when you go to these corporate events. Because if you had a horrible year, you're not winning anything because they do give out awards at these events for regional stores, right? All these different categories, right? But if you had an amazing year, guess what? You're going there with your chest puffed out, and you're like, dude, I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to win something. I'm ready to talk to the CEO. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to do that. I'm ready to get promoted. See me. My region crushed it. All these different things. But then you get back, and now it's review season. It's time for you to get your review. What are you going to do? Did you have a great year? Was your year horrible? All these things impact you as a leader. It's impacting you. It's impacting your peers, and it's impacting your boss. They are contemplating making a move. They're contemplating making a move up in the organization. They're contemplating making a move on, possibly to another a lateral move, or they're possibly talking about going to another organization, or they're possibly talking about making a move out. Right? We just started talking. We just spoke about the creator economy and how people are creating income outside of their normal jobs. And once that income, supplants their retail income, guess what? They're leaving, right? Case in point, I have done all three several times, right? I've made a move up, made a move on, and then my last one, I made a move out, right? Because I found my passion. This is what I want to do. This season is here for you right now. The season is here. It is all about making the right move for your career, making the right move for your career. We are here to help you. We are that safe space. We are that place where you can truly let your hair down as a retail leader and talk about your career journey because I understand your journey. We understand what I understand what you've gone through. I understand all the different things and the nuances that you have really faced in your career and what you're trying to do and how you need to communicate differently, how you need to work with that person that you've had the horrible time of trying to get them to trying to motivate them and you can't. Seen it, been there, done that. Right. Even in those situations, I've had people that really wanted to make a move because they couldn't get past that type of relationship. Right. Help people through that. Right. It's that season. It's time for making a move, and you have to figure out what it is that you want to do. You can see on the screen there is a QR code. That QR code will take you right to us to connect with us and making sure that we have an opportunity to connect and talk about where you are within your career so that you can make the correct move in your career so you can be successful. All right. Excellent. All right, cool. So here's the thing. Leadership discussion. We got about 20 minutes. I'm gonna keep this, I'm gonna keep these to an hour so that we can rock and roll and making sure that I know there are some more games coming on tonight. If you're tracking with me, say I'm tracking. If you have a question, iced coffee is the best. Iced coffee is the best. If you have a question about where you are right now, about leadership, um, even about the economy, the retail economy, if there's something that you've just been thinking about, you're afraid to possibly ask, um, maybe your boss or even a peer because you're like, I don't know how that's going to look if I actually do that. I'm not particularly sure whether or not they're going to think that I am automatically trying to leave because I'm asking this question about this, right? You're going to have some situations like that too. So you have to be mindful. If you have a question or a thought or a concern, please make sure you go ahead and put that on the screen so we can go ahead and talk about it. But I do want to talk about these leadership discussions. This leadership discussion. Here's the thing. We are going to talk real quick about 4 questions that will reveal who you are as a leader. All right. And honestly, I'm still going to do a podcast on this one. I had this in my on my list of podcasts to do. Um, but here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that um, I kept this as a live stream, and here's why. Those of also who know me, I do podcasting on the side, but I really wanted to make this as more to like a kind of teaching moment, right? My podcast, Retail Leadership with Steve Worthy, are 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 a podcast. It is a discussion. It is a more intimate conversation that I have with you. But I really wanted to make this one a more educational kind of piece. So I'm still going to do these as a podcast. So be on the lookout for that because we're going to go a little deeper on that one as well too. So I appreciate that. We got one more thing. Okay, awesome, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Been working heavy. Been working hard on this one, man. Been working hard on this one. All
All
right.
right.
So
So
the
the
first
first
question.
question.
Well, let me go back for a second. I want to set the tone. We just talked about make a move. We just spoke about making a move. We just spoke about where you are, having a better idea of where you are based on, your corporate, excuse me, your annual reviews, your performance reviews, and also understanding where the company is and where your company is and where you are and the role that you play therein within your company, right? So we just spoke about all of that. If you are um thinking about making a move, if you are questioning your career right now, and I don't mean that just negatively, right? I mean it positively, right? I've had the opportunities where I've had super positive conversations about my career that they weren't always about something negative and about me always making a move because of things were negative. It was making, or it was always like, man, I actually have a lot of momentum here. I actually have a great opportunity to utilize this momentum, right? Shameless plug for Retail Leadership with Steve Worthy. We did 21 laws, and one of the laws is the law of momentum. Make sure you go and listen to that episode. It is dope. Um, Here's the thing: if you are utilizing that momentum to gain ground in your career, it is important for you to do that. These questions you can utilize in that same vein. These questions you can think about them in the context of your if you're doing poorly or if you're doing really well. All right. So first
First
question:
question. What 2 or 3 moments have defined my career as it's progressed?
right?
Right? Think about this one also, from an interview standpoint, right? The retail interview is different than regular interviews. I hope you know that as those are retail leaders out here that are listening to this. The retail leader that is a whole thing in and of it. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Let me just do thank you, and I'm gonna
go through all of these.
Thank you. Forgot about those questions. Thanks again. Appreciate it. All right, so we're good to go now. So, what 2 or 3 moments have defined my career as it's progressed? If you don't know what those moments are, then I dare say that you haven't done anything. If you can't recall like quickly those those moments in your retail in that have defined your retail career. One of my first ones I right off the top of my head is when I first became a store manager with Target, and we were going through a remodel, and it was at that time I wanted it to be one of the most successful remodels that the company has ever had, and we actually did it. One and I created the perspective of defining success for me and also our team at that moment. And what that was to keep green customer service scores as you go through a remodel. I don't think there's any other way. Honestly, I don't think there's any other way for you to judge, or for at least for me. Maybe I'm a little biased. Um, maybe I'm a little biased, but I don't think there's any other way for you to judge the success of when you're having a remodel is when you have is through the customer's eyes and their perspective. And we had bright green, bright green results throughout. Um, and the customer comments were just through the roof, seamless, about yada yada yada, and it was just amazing, right? I leveraged the crap out of that opportunity and for my career, right? Leveraged the crap out of it. What are those moments in your career that you can recall very quickly, and hopefully they just become top of mind? Chances you have to be able to recall them and tell the story about them. That takes practice. Yes, practice. We're talking about practice, not a game, not a game. Practice. Those of you who know and get that. We're talking about practice, and it does take practice. It takes time to craft your story in a certain way. One of the things that when you start to think about the answers to all these questions, and thank you, Cher, and one of the things that you have to think about as you think about your answer to these questions is in the context of not just the interview, but how do those moments show yourself as a leader? How do they impact your team? How did it impact sales? How did it impact your market? How did it impact your growth of the market? But here's the other thing: are were you able to teach? Were you able to teach how were you successful in that moment? Right. One of the other things that stick out really quickly was we had some riots when I lived in Baltimore, and one of the things that we did extremely well was one, protecting the team. We protected the team. We protected the store. but the first thing was making sure that we protected the team, and it was super successful in what we did in that and through that process. So if you are able to understand 2 or 3 moments that you can understand that have defined your career and be able to tell, like Cher said, to be able to tell a story around them, they're extremely important. It is important for you to know who you are and what you've done, right? One of the worst things that I have seen when I don't know, I think I've calculated and I wrote it down somewhere, and I'm gonna probably talk about it in another discussion. How many people I've interviewed throughout my career, and a large majority of them probably had to be around 60 to 70% didn't really know how to talk about themselves, really didn't know how to tell their stories. They really couldn't talk about those moments in their life that were seminal to who they were and are as a leader. And I found myself, as I typically do, found myself coaching them through the interview process and helping them kind of craft their stories, because if you couldn't get through me, you're not going to get through the next person. Or if you can't get through me, it's a wrap, right? And I'm a pretty tough interviewer. So being able to make sure that you know those moments in your career and who you are, so that you can be able to craft a story that is going to be impactful for people. Number two, where will my professional journey take me and the companies I join going forward? All right. So where do you want to go? Right? Okay, there's a I'm going to bring this in real quick because it just came to me. As always, one of my favorite movies of all time is Good Will Hunting. Is Good Will Hunting, and there was a scene in the movie. There was a scene in the movie when Robert Williams is talking to Matt Damon. If you haven't seen Good Will Hunting, shame on you. Everybody needs to see it. Sorry, you need to see it. Go watch it now. Forget about the March Madness. Go watch it right now. But there's a scene in this movie. Matt Damon is super smart. He's brilliant, but he's seeking counseling from from Robin Williams. And Robin Williams poses this question to him. He says, "What do you want to do?" Right? And it's a very simple question. The reason he asks him is because he's super smart. He's borderline, like not borderline. He's a genius, and he can literally do whatever it is that he wants to do in his career in society. He has nothing holding him back, but he cannot answer the question. What is it that you want to do? Right? I have posed a similar question to people because I want to know what they want to do and where they want to go in their journey as a retail leader. Do you want to stay where you are? Cool. Here's the thing: if you want to stay a store manager because you don't want the extra burden some people feel as a district manager, understandable. Cool. Let me know that. So, but here's what I'm going to need though. I'm going to need you. I'm going to utilize your expertise to leverage those individuals that want to go to the next level and don't get upset about it. Right? So understand that. I'm okay with you wanting to stay with you where you are. But here's the one thing I don't see leaders do. They don't leverage the people where they are for the next people that want to do more. Or they don't let that person know, dude, I'm cool. Share, I'm good if you want to be a store manager. Awesome. You got 15 years of experience. But guess what? I am going to leverage the heck out of you for Florence, who's in the comments, for Florence who wants to go to the next level. And that is 100% okay. But we don't have those conversations. We don't do things like this. Is the stuff that they don't teach you. They don't talk to you about in the manual. They don't talk to you about how to have these conversations so that you can say, okay, you're good. All right, but this person isn't. I've had it happen to me in my career where I've leapfrogged tons and tons of people, right? But I've also had tons and tons of people help me get to the next level who were okay with where they were. So where do you want to go in this journey? Making sure that you have better understanding of your where you are as a retail leader, and what are the things that you are missing, right? A lot of times you can't define where you want to go in the in within the companies because you don't know what you're missing, right? You don't know the skill set that it takes to get to the next level. And you feel sometimes by asking that question that you're automatically going to be placed in this box of like, oh my God, you think you're better than us and all this other stuff. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. They're not going to say that to you. They're not going to talk to you about that. It's a real thing, right? Even when you as a district manager, you want to go to regional and senior vice president, there are so many different aspects that you need to know to get to the next level. Communicatively, how to communicate from a diplomacy standpoint, how to problem solve broader, how to be able to see things, right? One of the things that I I love about myself, I was going to put it to you this way, is that I am able to see things very quickly. I am able to see problems very fast, right? Sometimes it got me in trouble because I automatically define the problem and then I try to get the solution, and I didn't bring people along for the ride. Understandable, understandable. But you got to know yourself. You got to know yourself, right? So making sure that you understand where you are within your journey, th- maybe having a conversation about where those deficits are, and then being able to close that gap so that you can move forward and have a clear picture of where it is that you want to go on your journey. All right, let's go ahead and go to 3. All right, cool. The sound should be good because I just moved to 3. All right, so obstacles. What challenges have I overcome that that have made me a stronger, more effective leader? Gosh. Oh, I love this question. I love this question. Love this question. Love this question. But before we do that, real quick, how are you doing, Florence? The person has to know when to seek a mentor and a coach to go to the next level. I cannot agree with you more. Before I move to that, I apologize. I teased you guys a little bit with that challenging question, but I know I wanted to. I saw this come up, so I wanted to make sure I put this up here for Florence. Um, Here's the thing that a lot of people don't get. Okay, this is everybody says this to me. I give away too much, but I'm okay with this. Here's the thing that I'm going to teach you right now, real quick. As a leader, one, the first one, you should know this already, is that there is a difference between a mentor and a sponsor, right? If you don't know that, go listen to my episode on mentorship versus sponsorship, right? We got a 2-part series on that, and all of that. There is a massive difference between a mentor and a sponsorship. I'm going to talk about the word mentor because she talked about it and she mentioned it too. When you think about mentorship, right? When I think about mentorship within a retail perspective, I think about it differently. I didn't think about it in the context of just having that one person that's just going to that I can just go to and just kind of let my hair down, right? You can have that person, but I honestly feel that you need to be more strategic about the mentorship in your life as a retail leader. I had I think I had I'm gonna use Target as an example. I can go to Walmart too and work for those guys as well. But I had, because I use the same strategy. Um, I had a mentor for operations who had 20 some odd years with Target. And so they were my mentor for operations. And I went to them from an operational standpoint, and they mentored me through their knowledge and helping me understand, testing me, coming to my market, walking me through stores, showing me all this stuff. Like, I mean, seriously, I mean, it was an amazing experience because it was like I got one on one mentorship, but it was super focused and it was based on expertise. I also got a mentorship from a diplomacy standpoint. Ah, You didn't think about that, did you? You didn't think about it from that standpoint. I had a mentor that had gone before me and they had faced everything that I was going to face. And they were able to say, Steve, this is the relationship you need to have. Hey, this is the conversation that you may want to have. Hey, this is how you may want to approach this. Hey, you may want to do this before you do that. And they had my 100% best interest at heart. I can do another episode about how to find that person and how to trust that person, right? Because that's the other thing. But making sure that you're able to strategically have that mentor in your life, that is super important for you as a as a men- as a as a retail leader. From a coaching standpoint, right? A coach takes the broader perspective of who you are. I take the broader perspective of who you are and where you currently are within your journey and your personhood, if you will. And then we help define where it is that you want to go. And then together we craft and we fix and we focus in on the gap. And we create strategies, skill sets, perspectives, all these things that help you to move to where it is that you want to go, right? It is a broader perspective. It is, we think about the word coach, right? We all, since we're in March Madness, we think about a basketball coach, but we think about the true essence of a coach. A coach is a vehicle, right? Think about it over, I know we used it, here in the Western days, right? A coach with the horse that would pull it, right? It was a coach. It was a vehicle to take the occupants of that coach from one spot to the next. And it's the same thing that a coach does is to help you with that. Is to take you from where you want to be to from where you are to where it is that you want to be. You have to, realize that I don't have it right now, or I may need someone to help me work through something so that I can get to where I need to, but it takes some vulnerability for you to do that. And and as a retail leader, sometimes we feel that we have it all together and we really don't. And it is okay for us to say, you know what, I'm not sure about this. Can you help me? Can you help me move through this process? So thanks, Florence, for that. I appreciate that. Um, I'm going to move quickly through these last two. And obstacles. What challenges have I overcome that have made me a stronger, more effective leader? So these moments right here. How many of you have been? I here's the thing. I hated the interviews where I would ask somebody, "You'll tell me your biggest opportunity." Right. And what that's the old way of answer. Old way was answering that question was like, you know what? I'm just too dependable. Right. Right. Or I'm just I just want to win. I want to win too much. Or you know what, I think I'm just too firm. Right. It was like trying to take a strength and turn it into, maybe an opportunity, or taking an opportunity, turn it into a strength, or whatever it was. It was just like you can see right through it. Right. Those days are gone. Those days are gone. Nobody wants to hear that. Everybody's already seen that, right? You have to have and understand real challenges that you have faced in your life. They could be personal, that have helped morph you into who you are, or they could be professional, that have help you gain a better understanding of who you are as well. So if you are not taking the time to understand what those challenges are and to see them as they are, then I don't we are here to help you with that. We are here to help you with that. Here's the one thing, and this is I'm giving to you this for free. People pay for this. I'm giving you this for free. One of the things that we talk a lot about, we hear a lot about our your experiences, right? What experience did I have? How did that experience, how do I leverage that experience and experience? Get that. Experience is only as good as if as if and when it's evaluated. So, oops, oh gosh, here we go. I can have all the experiences in the world, but if I haven't evaluated how those experiences have impacted my life, have impacted the people around me, then they are just that. They are experiences. I have gone through them, right? But when it comes time for me to utilize those experiences so that I can move forward, it should take on a different perspective. There should be some evaluation of what occurred to me, right? There should be some evaluation of what this challenge did for the people um that I led. I'll go back to the experience of when we were doing the remodel, right? That was a massive challenging experience, and what I knew that that experience did was to help not just me, but it helped all my entire leadership team. Um, it helped my entire leadership team think differently around accomplishing something massive, right? They were super like, I don't want to do this. Oh my gosh, can I get transferred? Can you transfer me to another store? I don't want to go through this. Da, 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 da. I've heard people get fired when they go through this process. I've heard the boss people come in and they're just super nitpicky. Da, 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 da. All of those things are possibly true, but when we sat back and we evaluated the overall experience, we realized that we set up things that even though people came in and didn't nitpick, we actually had the answers for them. We were able to communicate in such a fashion where their nitpicking, right, was super reduced, right? It became more praise than it became nitpicking. And we evaluated how we communicated. We taught other people. We went to Jersey, we went to all these different places to help um other places have a very successful remodel, right? We did all of that stuff. So making sure that you are evaluating your experiences so that way when you go through these challenges, you are able to communicate how you were able to kind of get through them, and so other people could um, benefit from what it is that you've actually done as well too. So true about having different mentors. Excellent. No, 100. Thank you. It's true. They help you in so many different ways, and I think the tendency is that we get so focused on just having that one person that's going to um try to give us everything, and it just can't happen. It just can't happen. They can give you something to a certain extent, but if you really want to grow exponentially, you need to have those subject matter experts in your life to actually help you move through certain things in your life as well too. All right, number 4, this one, man, I you know what? I know I'm out of time. I know I'm out of time, right? But here's the thing. I don't care because this is a good one. Why do people follow my leadership? Those of you who are in the comments and those of you who are going to be on a replay, I really want you to answer this question. I want you to, in like a sentence or two, you can put it in the comments now. But those of you who probably listen to look at this, hopefully look at this on a replay. I really want you to I really want you to answer this one. I want like one or two sentences because it is important that you understand why people follow you. But here's the other thing. And here is the number one thing that I teach people about leadership. Um, while we are leading people, we have the role and we are influencing them. Here's the one thing that you have to understand, and this is why I take leadership so important. I feel like it's so important in my life, and it's because people are making a decision to be led by me, or they have made a decision to be led by me. You have to understand that, right? If I didn't, if other than the military, right? Other than the military, I didn't have a choice, right? But every other aspect of my life, I didn't like you, or I didn't think you had my best interest in heart, I'll leave, right? I made the move out. or I figured out how to make a move up or on, one way I was gone if I didn't like you as a leader and I didn't feel you had my best interest at heart. I didn't make the choice for you to lead me because I didn't trust you. But people make a choice for you to lead them. They wake up every day, sometimes because they don't maybe have a choice because it's a paycheck, right? Right. So sometimes they're like, that's still a choice, right? Even though they may not like you, but they're still making the choice to be led by you because they don't have any other choice because of the paycheck. Or they may feel like they don't have any other opportunities. So guess what? As much as I don't like this place, I got to be here because I don't have any other options. You have a whole bunch of people on your team like that. You have a whole bunch of people on your team like that. And I understand that. How would you like to have people on your team who actually like to work for you, who actually kind of like to be there? I'm not saying I'm not talking about a people pleaser mentality from a leader at all. I'm not talking about that in any stretch of the imagination because that doesn't work. People will leave and they'll talk about you regardless. It doesn't matter. People pleasing doesn't work. But why do people lead you? Oh, excuse me. But why do people follow you? I don't know. Ask that question. If you're a retail leader, I ask you to do that on tomorrow morning on Monday. Maybe on your call, or maybe when you go to a store and you take somebody out to dinner or you take somebody out to lunch. Why do people follow you? Why do people listen to what it is that you have to say? If you didn't have if you didn't lord it over them the position and money and whatever it is, would they stay? And I'm gonna close with this quick lesson. My um when I first left New York, I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I had an amazing pastor, Pastor Philip Davis, and one of the things that he taught me, and he was the first person to give me my first leadership book, Developing a Leader Within You, Dr. John Maxwell, and we got to go to a conference together, and um, John John Maxwell talked about leadership. And he talked about leading in a volunteer organization, right? If people won't follow you in a volunteer organization, guess what? You got some issues, right? But here's the one thing I learned, and I started leading different things at my church. Um, there was no money involved. People had to learn how to follow me, and people had to decide once again how to follow me, but I had to learn how to lead them properly, where there was no money exchanging hands, there was no positions, right? It was simply, hey, Steve's in charge of I actually was doing a couple of different Bible studies, and I guess I remember that. I was teaching the book of David. I was teaching on David, and and so Steve's teaching this and Steve's doing that. And I had actually had people who actually had to follow me. And it was interesting because my communication was different, right, than my normal job. How I um um allowed for input from people was completely different from a volunteering standpoint than it was from a positional or monetary leadership or transactional leadership standpoint. And I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about myself, how to lead really without authority. That is that is one of the best ways to understand who you are or to learn how to do something is to try to figure out how to lead without authority. And when you're able to do that, guess what happens when you have authority? It just grows exponentially. Another person said this to me a long time ago. More money or more position makes you more of what you already are. I know there's going to probably be some people, that's not necessarily true. Da 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 da. I get it. I understand that. I know there's going to be some dissenters, right? Understand it. But I kind of believe it to some degree, right? If you can morph, you can change over time. You can. I get it. But I have seen it where people were jerks at this role, and when they became bigger, man, they're even bigger jerks. So check your character. Check who you are. Check for understanding of who you are. Why are people leading? Why are people following you? Why are people following you? I want to go in here get a couple of these comments. Oh, so someone okay. Ooh, hold on a second. That's a lot of Cher Jones right there, all on my screen right there. Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay, I got to drink something before. People follow me because my experience shines through in my advice, and they feel heard. Ah, 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 ah. Felt like Eddie Murphy in that movie Coming to an ah. They and they feel heard because my advice is specific to their solution, and they have and they know I have their best interest in mind when I give it. Their best interest in mind when I give it. I'm gonna go back to. I just want to go make sure I get all the comments here too. Very strong Cher Jones. That's yes, that was a good one. That was really good. Richella says, I've managed to disturb people's complacency. Yeah, good, man, and that's okay, Um, you prepare your team. Law of navigation. Ah, ha, ha. Law of navigation. Yeah, that's it. 100% straight gold share. Excellent. Yeah, here's the thing. Okay, gosh. It keeps popping up big right there. I have their best interest in mind. So I'm not gonna ask share to because those of you who you know you guys know her, but some of you don't. But maybe I will ask that question. Um, how do people know that you have their best interest? This is not just for you, Cher, but this is just for other people too. Just because we're just having a discussion. How do people know that you and when you have their best interest at heart? It's a great it's a great feeling when you know or they know that you have their best interest at heart. It is probably one of the best feelings in the world when you are working with a team and you can say something to them and they just receive it. I don't mean they just receive it blindly, but they receive it because they know that Steve or Cher has their best interest at heart when they say something. That is the personhood, if you will, level, the 5 levels of leadership. That is like number 5, if you will, is that people follow you not because of what you've done for them, right? Not because of what they've done for you, but they follow you simply because of who you are. Simply because of who you are. You got a lot of people out here who don't understand that. Got a lot of people out here who because I'm gonna just go ahead and put this up here. Cher says because I am are invested in their win because you're invested in their win. 100%, 100%. You want them to win, right? You want them to win, and they could feel it, right? I just watched oh my gosh, who was that? Got upset last night. Um, FDU. Who did they beat? Oh my gosh, somebody in the comments tell me who they beat FDU last night. Um, can't remember who they beat last night in the game. But when and in Arkansas beat somebody too big too, right? And I'm looking at some of the interviews this morning, and listening to some of the coaches, and you can see like the kids are crying, right? But you can see the um the feelings between the coach and um the player, the level of trust, right? The level of like what was it Cher said? the fact that they know that that coach has their best interest in mind. They know that, right? There's no better feeling in the world, and so we see it, and we're going to see it time and time again as we continue to go through this tournament. But for you as a leader, what does that mean? How are you doing that? How are you doing? And let's go to this next comment too. People follow me because I lead by example and empathy, while being clear on setting high standards. I celebrate progress. Oh, I love that part. Love that part. Celebrate progress and stick with the person during the struggles. Excellent. You know, celebrating progress and making sure that people, um, you know, felt, that they are progressing in the right way, right? A lot of times I've seen it where leaders will leave people to their own devices and just expect them to get it, right? I understand that there is a certain point in time within a person's career when you can leave them to that point, but it is important that they still know that you are there to help them win, that you are there to help them understand what it is that they need to do differently so that they can get a better outcome as well. I say this all the time, and I keep saying I'm gonna close, and you guys keep asking questions. No, I'm okay. I'm just joking with you. I say this all the time, and I firmly believe it, and I just really do. But retail leaders are the best leaders in the world. I'm not saying that because I was one. I'm saying that because I have dabbled into different um, business disciplines, as well as leadership, as well as retail leadership. I have worked with and in other industries, and the amount of decision making and connectivity that you need to have and elasticity of thought, um, conceptually, and then bringing people quickly along for the ride and helping them buy into what it is that you need them to buy into, sometimes on a daily or hourly basis, is for me the essence of leadership. It is not just about um, being able to speak at a high level about something. There are a lot of people that can do that. It is about the taking of that communication that's at a high level and being able to distill it and bring it down so that other people can actually execute upon whatever that initiative is. So, retail leaders are the best in the world. My job and what we are trying to do here with retail leadership with Steve Worthy is we are trying to elevate the cachet, the presence, the positioning, if you will, of the retail leader in the pantheon, if you will, of leadership, right? Or the ethos of leadership, or this continuum of leadership. We want to make sure that retail leaders have a voice. We want to make sure that people understand our overall importance to everyday life, the economy, everything that happens. Retail leaders impact that every day, everywhere, all over the world. They truly do, all over the world. I thank you for joining me for winning your Monday with retail leadership here on Sunday night. I really hope. I'm excited. I've already mapped out next Sunday. I think the Sunday after that is Easter Sunday, so I may take a break on that Sunday. No, it's not Easter Sunday. I can't remember when Easter Sunday is. I got to figure that out. But I've mapped out the next two Sundays. We are still going to be continuing our Thursday evening interviews. I think this Thursday I'm going to probably be doing a live podcast, where I am actually probably I'll have people, of course, in the audience, but I will be just recording an actual live podcast. This one I wanted it to be a live stream, so I'm actually pretty excited about doing that live and still being able to kind of create that content. If you look at this on a replay, hopefully you've been able to find some value from this. You can connect with us, of course. Oh my gosh, where did that go? There it is.
You can connect with us, of course, on LinkedIn. Once again, I'm Rusty. I should have did this at the beginning. You connect with us on LinkedIn, as well with Where Do Retail You Facebook group. You can connect with us over there, and a great group that we're really engaging with a lot of good leaders, not just retail leaders, but some really good leaders there too. And then, of course, you can hit that subscribe button and the bell so that you don't miss anything that we talk about here on Retail Leadership with Steve Worthy. And then, of course, make a move.
Right. Thank you, double mic again. So I got to make sure I go back to that one. I appreciate that, Chair. I'll do that after the show. Make a move. We're here to help. We are here to help you understand where you are so that you can make the right move in your career, whether you're making a move up, on, or out. We are here to help you with that. We are that safe space. We have the experience, we have the knowledge, and we have the tools to help you become the best version of yourself as a retail leader so that you can be successful. We thank you so much for having us here tonight, or having me here tonight. I'm excited about jumping back in here on Sunday nights. If you can't tell, that's why I'm talking a lot, and I don't want to leave, but I know I got to leave. Right? I don't know where. I got to go home, and I got to get out of here. We're going to continue to have fun on this Sunday nights, and I'm going to continue to try to bring as much value as we possibly can to help prepare you so that you can win on Monday. Have a great night.